Hi everybody, it's Herbert coming to you from New Yorker in Knoxville. Just doing a quick garden update, and as you can see, the squash suddenly exploded. I think once the days got long enough, this plant just got enough energy from the sun to really start growing. This particular type of squash, known as a shark fin melon or a fig leaf squash, is supposed to be even a more aggressive grower than typical squash. The vines supposedly can get like 50 feet long. So I have 5 plants that are really starting to take off, especially towards the southern end of my strip. And so I'm going to have to make sure that these squash don't take over my entire yard. But what's nice to see is that this Three Sisters method is kind of working now that the squash are stepping in, because the squash seem to deter the animals. I have this squash plant right here, and these sunchokes weren't growing up until the squash plant surrounded it. They kept getting chewed down by rabbits, but now that the squash leaves and squash stems, which have this kind of prickly abrasive stem, are surrounding it, seems to be protected. My other sunchokes are finally able to grow because I put these protectors around it, and they're starting to take off. And then I'm hoping, I planted a couple of backup beans, but they keep getting chewed at. But I'm hoping the squash is going to deter rabbits from getting this plant, which I started as a succession seed. So it's going good. And then my beans, I only have really 4 bean plants that survived the attack of the rabbits, but they've gotten big enough where they seem to be doing well now. They've all the way to the top of the bamboo stakes, and we're just starting to get these flowers, which are going to turn into bean pods. I'm hoping that these different vines will kind of snake across the top so that I have kind of like a canopy of beans that continue to grow. So yeah, things are really starting to take off here. I can't believe how quickly these squash plants are growing. Every day I come out, they are like several inches longer or more. And the other thing that's cool is my walking onions. I got them growing at the top here. I'm going to have to break apart those bulbs when they get a little bigger. But the other pot I had, they multiplied more like regular onions, where the bulb divided in the dirt. So I had one pot of like 6 onions, and that's turned into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pots of onions. So they actually seem to replicate both ways. They'll replicate in the ground and at the top. So it's kind of like a double whammy. But yeah, so the garden's doing good. Potatoes are kind of just staying put. I'm anticipating them being ready hopefully in another month or so to harvest, and then I want to start a second rotation of potatoes, because the growing season should be long enough where I could replant some and get a second harvest of potatoes. So even though I had a couple of stumbling blocks early on, this garden's really starting to take off. Very excited. The other thing I'm going to try next year that I found out about from just somebody in the area, he said if you want to keep the rabbits off your plants, just mix some Tabasco in a spray bottle with some water, and you spray your plants, and it doesn't hurt your plants, and it's supposed to do a good job deterring the rabbits. So it's probably too late this year, but now I know for next year. I'm going to see if that works, rather than having to go through all this trouble to protect these sunchokes and the beans and things like that. Anyway, just an update. Let me know what you think if you have any questions or ideas. And we always appreciate likes and subscribes and shares. And hope to catch you soon. God bless.